Hey there, everybody. Welcome to my channel, The Magical Solution. My name is Leilani, and tonight I just decided to do our book club. Just pick up where we left off as usual. Tonight's Thursday, August 3rd. It's really beautiful here in New York, actually. Every time we took our dog out for a walk, it was just a beautiful, beautiful, breezy, nice day. And I hope those fellow New Yorkers enjoyed it as well. So we are on chapter 20. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who are new to my channel, I hope you stick around, enjoy, like, comment, subscribe. For those, who have been watching for a while, thank you so much for sticking around. So this book club, if you're new, is just for the practice of going through various scriptures of various authors in Spiritismo and in other mystic cultures. And we started off with the codex, if you will, the doctrine of Spiritism, and that is the work of Allan Kardec, or at least his pen name, Allan Kardec. And so far we have been through the first two books, the Spirits book and the Mediums book, and now we are on the Gospel according to Spiritism. Don't freak out. You can join whenever. The information is relevant to whomever, and you can always catch up later on my YouTube channel. Okay? So, chapter 20. Oof. It seems like chapter 20 is just a compilation of the Spirit's teachings. So we're not going to see any quotes from the Spirit of Truth, or we're not going to see any passages from the Bible being quoted as Spiritism per se, but you're going to hear it yourself from like the spirits themselves. That's basically what the Spirit's teachings mean. So the first subcategory, or at least the first topic they want to touch on, is called The Last Shall Be First. The second subject they want to touch on is the mission of Spiritists. And the last subject they want to touch on is Workers of the Lord, which just so happens to be the title, Workers of the Last Hour, Workers of the Lord, you know what I mean. So let's get into it. Okay. Oh, they actually are going to quote a Bible quote. Okay. So they are going to quote Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 to 16. This is the parable of the wedding feast, as it's commonly known. So here we go. The kingdom of heaven is like the father of a family who went out at daybreak in order to hire workers to work in his vineyard. Having agreed with the workers that he would pay them 1 denarius per day, he sent them to the vineyard. He went out again at the 3rd hour of the day, and seeing others who were in the square not doing anything, he said to them, "You go also to my vineyard, and I will give you what is reasonable." And they went there. Again, he went out at the 6th and 9th hours of the day and did the same. And having gone out at the 11th hour, he found others who were without anything to do, and said to them, "Why have you stood around all day without working?" And they told him that it was because no one had hired them. And he said to them, "You too good to be in my vineyard?" When evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to the one who was taking care of his business. Call the workers and pay them from the last to the first. Thus, those who had not come to the vineyard except when the 11th hour was near received 1 denarius each. Those who were hired first came in their turn, believing they would be given more. But each one received no more than 1 denarius. Upon receiving it, they complained against the father of the family, saying, "These last worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us who bore the load and the heat of the day." But in response, he said to one of them, "My friend, I have done you no wrong. Did you not agree with me on 1 denarius for your day's work? Take what belongs to you and go. As for me, I wish to give to the last as much as to you. Is it not permitted to me to do what I want? And is your evil eye because I am good? Thus, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. For many are called, but few are chosen." So that's the parable, okay? And so the Spirit's teachings are going to come from that. Hello, hello, hello. I see you there. As a matter of fact, I think there's a way for me to share this screen for you guys. Let me do that. Here. Oh man, you should be seeing what I'm seeing. That's not fair. Nah, I'm good. I'll keep it on the tab. How do I do it? Like this? And then share Audible. Yeah. Wait, what is happening? That's what I want. Okay, I think I got it. Is anyone seeing what I'm seeing? Nope. No one can see what I'm seeing. Ah. Okay. Yay! You guys see what I see? Fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, here we go. So the Spirit's teachings, right? So their take on the whole thing. Okay. So the last shall be first. The workers of the last hour had a right to their wages, but their willingness had to have put them at the disposal of the master who would hire them, and their tardiness could not have been the result of laziness or ill will. They did, in fact, have a right to their wages because, since daybreak, they had been waiting impatiently for someone who would finally call them to work. They were hardworking. They only lacked the work. However, if they had refused work at each hour of the day, if they had said, "Be patient, repose, please me," when the last hour, it will be time to think about today's wages. What need is there for me to inconceive myself for a master who would I neither know nor love? The latter, the better. These, my friends, would not have received the wages of work, but of laziness. What would have become of those workers if, instead of only remaining idle, they had used the hours of the day meant for labor, to commit blameworthy acts. If they had blasphemed God, spilled the blood of their brothers and sisters, caused problems among families, ruined those who trusted them, abused the innocent, or indulged in all the I'm not good with this one, ignominies of humanity. I'm gonna have to look that one up, you guys, or you can drop a comment on its definition in the chat because I can see it. What would you have become of them? Would it be enough for them to have said at the last hour, "Sir, I have used my time badly. Use me until the end of the day, so that I may do a little, although it will be very little on my part, and give me the wages of a worker of goodwill"? No, no. The master would have said to them, "I do not have any work for you right now. You have squandered your time. You have forgotten what you have learned, and you no longer know how to work in my vineyard. Therefore, begin to learn once more, and when you are a more willing, come to mind, and I will open my vast field to you, where you will be able to work at all hours of the day." Good Spiritists, my dearly beloved, you are all workers of the last hour. That one who says, "I began work at daybreak, and I will finish only at nightfall," would be very proud. You all came when you were called. Some a little earlier, some a little later, to the incarnation whose shackles you bear. However, for how many centuries has the Lord been calling you to his vineyard without your wanting to enter it? Now is the time for you to receive wages. Employ the time you have remaining well, and never forget that your existence, no matter how long it may be to you, is only a fleeting instant in the immensity of time comprising eternity for you. Can we pause there for a minute? I don't know if I even gave that sentence justice, but can we just pause there for a minute? Let me take a sip of water. Real quick. Oh my God, so good. Okay, let's try that again. Employ the time you have remaining well, and never forget that your existence, no matter how long it may seem to you, is only a fleeting instant in the immensity of time comprising eternity for you. Yeah, I mean, you could stop right there. That is the answer to all of life's question, is it not? And that, of course, was said by the spirit of Constantine, a protector spirit. These words were spoken in Bordeaux in 63. So now here comes another spirit who's also going to take what that quote meant. Feel free to read ahead without me, no worries. This is kind of cool that we get to share the screen, because now there's no pressure to to keep up, you just do your thing. Jesus loved the simplicity of symbols. And in his forceful language, the workers who came at the first hour were Moses, the prophets, and all the initiators who marked the stages of progress that has been continued down through the centuries by the apostles, the martyrs, the church fathers, learned individuals, philosophers, and finally spiritists Spiritists, the last to arrive, have been announced and foretold since the dawn of the Messiah, and they will receive the same recompense. But what am I saying? A greater recompense. As the last to arrive, spiritists profit from the intellectual endeavors of their predecessors, because humans must inherit from humans, and their endeavors and results are collective. God blesses solidarity. Furthermore, many among them are alive again today, or will come back in the future to complete the work they had formerly begun. More than one patriarch, more than one prophet, more than one disciple of Christ, more than one disseminator of the Christian faith may be found among spiritists. However, they are now more enlightened, more advanced, no longer working on the foundation, but on the top floor of the building. Their wages, therefore, will be proportional to the merit of their work. Reincarnation, that wonderful doctrine, both immortalizes and defines spiritual affiliation. Called to give an accounting of its earthly mandate, the spirit understands the continuity of the task, interrupted but always resumed once again. It sees and it senses that it has seized in its flight the thought of its predecessors. It enters the learning experience again, matured by experience, to advance a little more. And all, workers of the profound first of the last hour, with their eyes open to the profound justice of God, no longer complain but simply worship. This is one of the true meanings of this parable. Like all of the parables that Jesus addressed to the people, beneath their forms and images, they contain the seeds of the future, as well as the revelation of the magnificent unity that harmonizes all things in the universes, and the solidarity that reconnects all present beings to the past and the future. And this is said by Henry Heine, Paris in 1863. This is like the most prophetic, in my opinion, thing. It honestly sounds like as if I was speaking. It's so just fluid in thought, like that's such a spirit, you know what I mean? And that's what it means to read these doctrines, so they say, right? It's about the meditation. It's about the reflection upon what is being written, what is being said. And this chapter is unique in that it is only just the spirits talking this time, versus it being broken into pieces. So the next subcategory that the spirits want to touch on is the mission of the spiritists, right? They got an opinion about this. They have an opinion about what the spiritist should be up to. And that opinion starts with the spirit. I hate this name. It always gets me. Erastus. Someone correct me in the comments. Yet have I been corrected. No, I'm kidding. The medium's guardian angel. Paris in 1863. All right, so let's do it. Do you not already hear the rumbling of the tempest that must do away with the old world and engulf in nothingness the sum of earth's inequities? Bless the Lord. You who have put your faith in his sovereign justice, and who, as new apostles of the belief revealed by prophetic voices on high, go forth and preach the new doctrine of reincarnation and the degree to which spirits have evolved according to whether they have accomplished their missions well or badly and borne their earthly trials. Fear not. The tongues of fire are upon your heads. Oh, true followers of Spiritism, you are the chosen ones of God. Go and preach the divine word. The time has come in which you must sacrifice your habits, your labors, and your futile concerns to its propagation. Go forth and proclaim it. Spirits from on high are with you. Of course, you will speak to individuals who will not want to listen to the voice of God, for that voice incessantly calls them to selflessness. You will proclaim disinterestedness to the greedy, abstinence to the dissolute, and kindness to the domestic tyrants, as well as to the despots. Wasted words, I know, but what does it matter? You must water with your sweat the ground that you must sow, for it will not produce a crop except through repeated efforts of the evangelical hoe and plow. Sorry. Come on, you were with me on that one. Come on. Anyway, go forth and proclaim. Yes, and all you men and women of good faith, who are aware of how small you are as you look at other worlds scattered throughout the infinite, set out on a crusade against injustice and iniquity. Go forth and reverse this worship of the golden calf, each day more and more encroaching. Go. God will guide you. Simple and ignorant humanity, your tongues will be loosened and you will speak as no other orator speaks. Say that again. Ignorant humanity, your tongues will be loosened and you will speak as no other orator speaks. Go forth and proclaim, and attentive peoples will joyfully take in your word of consolation, fraternity, hope, and peace. Yep. What do the traps matter, which will be set for you along your way? Only wolves fall into traps for wolves, because the shepherd will know how to defend his sheep against such murderous butchers. Go forth, men and women who are great before God, and who, more blessed than St. Thomas, believe without asking to see and accept the achievements of mediumship, even when you have never been successful in obtaining it themselves. Go forth. The Spirit of God is leading you. Press onward. You remarkably faithful phalanx. Why does that make me always think of like a medication pill? You know what I did? I completely forgot to get onto Instagram and Twitter. I guess YouTube and Facebook, you got me all to yourself today. And the great battalions of disbelievers will vanish before you like morning mist at the first rays of the rising sun. Faith is the virtue that moves mountains. Yeah, I'm going to let you sit with that. Faith is the virtue that moves mountains. Jesus has told you. However, impurity and all the vices of impurity lie heavier than the heaviest mountains in the heart of humankind. So go forth with courage in order to move these mountains of iniquity, which future generations will know about only through legend, just as you yourselves know only very imperfectly about the period of time prior to pagan civilization. Yes, moral and philosophical upheavals will occur at all points on the globe. The time approaches when the divine light will be shed over the two worlds. Go forth, then, and take the divine word to the great ones of the world who will scorn it, to the learned who will demand proof, to the small and simple who will accept it, because it is especially among the martyrs of labor, that earthly expiation, that you will find zeal and faith. Go forth. They will receive the holy consolation you bring them with canticles of thanksgiving and by singing praises to God. And they will bow their heads in thanks for the portion of their earthly afflictions. May your phalanx be armed with resolution and courage. Get to work. The plow is ready. The soil awaits you. Now you must work. Go forth and give thanks to God for the glorious task He has entrusted to you, but bear in mind that among all those called to Spiritism, many have gone astray. So watch your course and follow the way of truth. Question: If many of those so-called Spiritism, if if many of those called to Spiritism have gone astray, by what signs do we recognize those who are on the righteous path? The answer: you will recognize them by the principles of true charity that they profess practice. You will recognize them by the number of afflicted to whom they take consolation. You will recognize them by their love for their neighbor, their selflessness, and their personal disinterestedness. You will recognize them, lastly, by the triumph of their principles, for God wills the triumph of His law. Those who obey His law are the elect, and He will give them victory. However, He will crush those who falsify the spirit of the law and who make it a stepping stone for satisfying their vanity and ambition. There you go. Erastus, the medium's guardian angel, Paris in 1863. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The next topic that the spirits want to speak on are specifically the workers of the Lord. So, as we read in the previous spirits talk, he's encouraging the spiritists that if they are to speak about Spiritism, if it is to come that Spiritism comes up, it must be within the working class, the labor class, because this is the class that understands fairness and unfairness and like teamwork and working together, and the dichotomies of being disgruntled at work versus having a great work family. It's there's a lot that happens. There's a lot that happens, right? So the time is near for the fulfillment of those things proclaimed for the transformation of humankind. Blessed will be those who have worked in the Lord's field selflessly and with no other motive than charity. Their workdays will be paid 100-fold more than what they have expected. Blessed will be those who would have said to their fellow men and women, brothers and sisters, let us work together and combine our efforts so that the Master may find the work accomplished at His coming. For the Master will say to them, come unto me, you who have been good servants. You who have known how to silence your jealousies and discords so that no harm would come to work. But woe unto those who, because of their dissensions, will have delayed the time of their harvest. For the storm will come, and they will be swept away in the upheaval. They will cry, have mercy, have mercy. But the Lord will say to them, why do you ask for mercy? You who did not show mercy to your brothers and sisters, you who refused to offer them a hand, you who trampled the weak instead of upholding them. Why do you ask for mercy? You who sought your recompense in the delights of the earth and in the satisfaction of your pride. You have already received the recompense, such as you wanted it. Ask for nothing more. The recompenses of heaven are for those who have not asked for the recompenses of earth. Take that in. Take that in. You know you're living it. You're living it right now. At this moment, God is taking a census of his faithful servants and is taking note of those who only have the appearance of devotion, so that they may not usurp the wages of the courageous servants, because it is for those who do not recoil before their tasks that God will entrust the most difficult positions in the great work of regeneration through Spiritism. And these words will be fulfilled. The first will be the last, and the last will be the first in the kingdom of heaven. And that is the Spirit of Truth himself. So that's the one that has been speaking to Allan Kardec this entire time, from the Spiritist book to the Medium's book, etc. So the Spirit of Truth is a very consistent character, and a lot of what we see with that is the foundation of Spiritist belief, which is again heavily rooted in Christianity, because that's how they needed to speak to the people. You know what I mean? And that was only how they needed to speak to the people of that time. Allan Kardec was for his time, right? Then you have Brazil, Chavez. No, I'm sorry. Oh my God, that was so not it. But in Brazil, right? So you have them, you have the Lily Dale over in America, you have like everyone has sort of like their not prophet, but like sort of like that person that is able to just sort of speak a wisdom that is beyond comprehension, but within the language of the people. And that's what the Spirit of Truth was for Allan Kardec and for early France, right? So now we are on chapter 21. What time is it? 9:12. Ooh, this is a good one. Look at it, you guys. There will be false Christs and false prophets. The tree is known by its fruit. The mission of its prophets, prodigies performed by false prophets. Do not believe all spirits. And then the Spirit's teachings and the subjects that they're going to talk about are false prophets, characteristics of true prophets, false prophets in the spirit world, Jeremiah and the false prophets, right? So that will be for most likely next week. Yeah, because this is going to be a long one. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's going to be a long one. So maybe we'll start at 7. We'll definitely start at 7 for this one. so that we get out at a reasonable time. But that's my fault. That's my bad. That's my bad. I felt like this was a good time, um, just to kind of catch up and talk about Spiritism. And all of this is such a great way to share space together. As a matter of fact, speaking of this subject, right? So let me close this out really quick. Speaking of that subject, about living the lifestyle and all that, right? And like false prophets and stuff. Like it's so crazy because like on my blog, the one that I'm currently pumping in a lot of content for, and getting ready to publish, one thing at a time. But the blog that so far tends to make the most waves is, the red flags in the community, and, how to kind of spot if someone's like not where it's at. Now, of course, I always keep it within the realm of like tarot or like, small group think, because it's easier to digest. But the issue is across the board, right? The issue is across the board. So, that's like hi, Miguel. Oh my goodness. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. We just finished the chapter. I came in late today. I apologize. I normally start things like this at 7, but we snuck one in. It was a little chapter. That was why I did it. I checked beforehand. It was a little chapter. And I loved the topic because it needs to be spoken about now, especially because there's so many platforms. There's so many platforms now. Like you can't keep up. You can't keep up with it. And I don't know if I want to. I'm gonna be dead ass. Like I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to. And but I know that I have to, right? Because there is a certain level of responsibility. Like you kind of have to like make sure like things don't get too crazy. Because the stuff that happens is pretty wild. But I don't know. It's needed. There are predators out there. There are con men out there. There are charlatans out there. There are trained, NLP, hypnosis certified like types of people that are just like supreme narcissists, that are very like they're like sociopathically like aware of their mannerisms and the way that they speak. I think it's important to see these things. But I think it's also important to define what charity is to you, because like I spoke about yesterday in a conversation that I had, you know what? You know what? We're going to pause this because this is about the Spiritism this is about the book. And although it is technically about that subject, I know myself, and I will go into a whole other like thing and completely forget that this was what this was about. So I'm going to end this. I'm going to refill my cup because I'm going to drink the rest of this. And then I'm going to come back and finish my thought if I remember it. Thank you.